Senator Ted Cruz slams Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats on the Senate floor. He says, "What the hell do the emission standards on airplanes have to do with the coronavirus crisis?" Hello and welcome back to TST. If you're new to the channel, tap on the subscription button and press the notification bell so you can receive news and updates that you can rely on daily. Senator Ted Cruz spoke out Monday on the floor of the Senate about the items Democrats have insisted on adding to the coronavirus stimulus plan. What the hell do the emission standards on airplanes have to do with thousands of people dying and millions of people out of work in the coronavirus pandemic? Take a watch.
Same quote from Rahm Emanuel, President Obama's chief of staff: "Never let a good crisis go to waste." Sadly, we're seeing the embodiment of that cynical approach right now. Because all the people out of jobs the Democrats are using to push, what are they pushing for? Changing the emission standards on airplanes. Mr. President, what the hell do the emission standards on airplanes have to do with thousands of people dying and millions of people out of work in the coronavirus epidemic? Don't treat this bill like a partisan Christmas list. And by the way, you know, Republicans, we've got things we would like to advance too. Things I believe in deeply. You want to talk about what I'd like to do? I'd like to abolish the IRS. I've campaigned on that all over the country. I'm going to continue fighting for that. But, Mr. President, I'm not standing here with an amendment saying, as part of this emergency relief, let's abolish the IRS. There's a place for that political and policy discussion. The Democrats are pushing wind and solar tax credits. Mr. President, what in the hell does a windmill have to do with this crisis? Other than there's some Democratic lobbyists getting fat and rich, and they're willing to extort a crisis to try to advance their political agenda. Mandates on corporate board diversity. So these are Democrats that want to social engineer. Now listen, I actually have a lot of problems with corporate boards. I think we have far too many corporate boards that are docile and do what management wants. That's a serious problem. A lot of discussion about stock buybacks. I'll tell you what I get concerned about stock buybacks is when you have compensation agreements in place that the executives get rich if they get a short-term boost in share price, and it ends up hurting the shareholders. So I'd love to see actually more vigorous boards of directors that make sure that you're not creating incentives to gain the stock price. That's a reasonable question. But they want to mandate effectively quotas on boards of directors. Mr. President, what in the hell does that have to do with this crisis? The Pelosi wish list wants to restructure the debt for the post office. Mr. President, last I checked, look, our postal workers, they go through wind and rain and snow, but they haven't been laid off. I call upon both sides. Don't play games with this. This crisis isn't going to end tomorrow. It's not going to end the next day. It's going to last for a considerable time. It's going to require adults to step up and lead.
What does the Green New Deal have to do with the coronavirus crisis? Dear Lord, it turns out the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi are asking for everything but the kitchen sink in this coronavirus stimulus. $300 million for migration and refugee assistance. $1 million for the Sergeant at Arms and doorkeeper of the Senate. $300 million for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. $500 million for the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Howard University gets a $23 million handout. Howard's endowment, $647 million. $7 million for one specific DC charter school, Gallaudet University. $90 million for an HIV program. $35 million for the JFK Performing Arts Center. Americans are outraged by the add-ons from Democrats. One suggestion is perfect. Have President Trump read all of the add-ons from the Democrats on TV. President Trump needs to have a press conference and read off every single ridiculous thing Nancy Pelosi put into her coronavirus bill. $15 minimum wage, JFK performing arts, NOAA, new committee in Congress, diversity reporting, emissions, elections, expose it all live on TV. What does the NOAA have to do with the coronavirus crisis? $33,200,000 for new facilities. Why, Nancy? What does the $35 million to John F. Kennedy Performing Arts Center have to do with the coronavirus crisis? $1 million for the Surgeon at Arms and doorkeeper of the Senate, and $300 million for migration and refugee assistance? The Democrats need to take power from Pelosi and pass the coronavirus aid for Americans minus the pork. Share your thoughts and responses in the comments down below. And if you've liked this report, let us know by tapping the like button down below. Share the news among friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news and updates on TST. I'm David Ravine, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, stay home, stay healthy, stay safe.